Hello students, let's begin our next module of chapter number 1, The Rise of Nationalism in Europe. So by now we know that revolutionaries had started their own attempts to get rid of conservative rule. Lekin what happened next? Next came the period of revolution in which various revolutionaries fought for their rights and tried to free themselves from the clutches of the conservatives. Therefore, now we are going to study various revolutions that were taking place in Europe. And therefore, the period from 1830 to 1848 is termed as the Age of Revolutions because there were various places in Europe where the revolutions were happening. Now let's see what were these places. तो जो पीरियड था 1830 से 1848 में यूरोप में इस टाइम पे बहुत ज़्यादा टेंशन और अनरेस्ट था. एक साइड थे कंजर्वेटिव्स जो कि बहुत ज़्यादा पावरफुल होते जा रहे थे एंड दूसरी साइड थे हमारे रेवोल्यूशनरीज लिबरल्स जो अटेम्प्ट कर रहे थे लिबरलिज्म को और नेशनलिज्म को यूरोप में स्टैब्लिश करने के लिए. रेवोल्यूशनरी mainly comprised of educated middle class elites such as professors, school teachers, clerks, and members of commercial middle class who started revolutionary activities in many regions of Europe such as Italian and German states, the provinces of Ottoman Empire, Ireland and Poland. तो जो पहला इंसिडेंट हुआ जो हम एज ऑफ रेवोल्यूशन में कहते हैं जो फर्स्ट इंसिडेंट हुआ ये हुआ फ्रांस में इन जुलाई 1830. तो यहाँ पे जो लिबरल रेवोल्यूशनरीज है दे ओवरथ्रू द बर्बन किंग जो बर्बन किंग जिन्हें 1815 में फिर से रीस्टैब्लिश किया गया था आफ्टर द नेपोलियन वाज डिफीटेड. तो उनको फ्रांस में लिबरल रेवोल्यूशनरीज ने रिप्लेस किया विद अ कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मोनार्की विद लुई फिलिप एज इट्स हेड. तो जो ये वाला रेवोल्यूशन है फ्रांस में इन 1830 इसे बोलते हैं जो जुलाई रेवोल्यूशन से इंस्पायर होकर और बहुत सारी अपराइजिंग हुई लाइक अपराइजिंग इन ब्रुसेल विच रिजल्टेड इन द सेपरेशन ऑफ बेल्जियम फ्रॉम द यूनाइटेड किंगडम ऑफ नीदरलैंड्स. Major event that served for inculcating the nationalist feeling among the educated elite across Europe was the Greek War of Independence. जितनी भी ये सारी फीलिंग अरोज हो रही थी they actually came into being because of the Greek War of Independence. Greece was under the Ottoman Empire since the 15th century. Ottoman Empire was formed at the end of the 13th century by Turkish rulers. तो जो इनका इंडिपेंडेंस का स्ट्रगल था वो बिगिन हुआ 1821 से. तो जो नेशनलिस्ट थे इन ग्रीस दे वर सपोर्टेड बाय अदर ग्रीक्स हु वर लिविंग इन एग्जाइल. इवन द पीपल फ्रॉम वेस्ट यूरोप हु had sympathy for Greek culture also came forward for their support. काफ़ी सारे artists, poets also supported the Greek struggle against the Ottoman Empire. The English poet Lord Byron not only organized funds for Greek struggle but also went to participate in the war where he died of fever in 1824. Finally एक treaty हुई the Treaty of Constantinople which was signed in 1832 that recognized Greece as an independent nation. तो हमने देखा कि ग्रीस में अपराइजिंग हुई and it ended in their freedom. Similarly जुलाई रेवोल्यूशन हुआ था फ्रांस में. तो जो ड्यूक मेटरनिक हैं उन्होंने एक बार बोला था when France sneezes the rest of the Europe catches cold, which means जब फ्रांस में कुछ भी होता है फॉर एग्जाम्पल अगर फ्रांस में रेवोल्यूशन हुआ फ्रेंच रेवोल्यूशन हुआ या फिर उसके बाद जुलाई रेवोल्यूशन हुआ उसके बाद इट लेड टू अपराइजिंग इन वेरियस प्लेसेस लाइक ब्रुसेल्स विच वी हैव ऑलरेडी mentioned earlier. As mentioned, there were various artists and poets who had also participated in revolutionary activities for bringing liberalism and nationalism in Europe. But what was their contribution and how is Romanticism connected with it? Let's find out that. The notion of nationalism did not come because of wars and territorial expansion only. कल्चर का भी इसमें बहुत सिग्निफिकेंट रोल है जो कि एक्चुअली लोगों में अवेयरनेस लेकर आता है about the importance of nationalism and feeling of devotion for one's nation. इस टाइम पे काफ़ी सारे आर्टिस्ट एंड पोएट्स थे जिन्होंने पोएम स्टोरीज म्यूज़िक का हेल्प लिया सो दैट दे कैन एक्सप्रेस एंड शेप द नेशनलिस्ट फीलिंग ऑफ द सिटीजन्स. The cultural movement carried by poets, writers, and artists came to be known as Romanticism. According to the Romantic artist, साइंस एंड रीजन से कभी भी नेशन नहीं बिल्ड होगा बट इट वुड बी बिल्ड बाय अ सेंस ऑफ शेयर्ड कलेक्टिव हेरिटेज एंड कॉमन कल्चरल पास्ट एंड this was the fact that they tried to focus on, that is on the emotions, intuitions and the mystical feelings. So they wanted all the people to emotionally feel the connection with their nation, that they express their views through poems, plays, music, stories. So this movement is known as the Romanticism. Johann Gottfried Herder, who was a German philosopher and romantic, favored that true German culture was to be discovered among the common people. He said that true spirit of the nation can be popularized through folk songs, folk dance and folk poetry. And he claimed that the true German culture was to be discovered among the common people who he called Das Volk. Also, जो emphasis था वो vernacular languages, vernacular means the local languages and collection of various folk tales, folk poems, etc. पर किया गया था. Through this, they wanted to create awareness about nationalism among the illiterate countrymen. So this proved to be subtle in case of Poland. Poland was partitioned at the end of the 18th century by Russia, Prussia and Austria. Though it didn't remain as an independent territory, but artists such as Karol Kurpinski were able to inculcate national feelings in the hearts of the common people through their hard work. So Karol used to celebrate the national struggle through his operas and music, which led to the formation of various folk dances and nationalist symbols. और सिर्फ पोएम्स ही नहीं, लेकिन नेशनल सेंटिमेंट को और इंक्रीज़ करने के लिए लैंग्वेज का भी बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट पार्ट था. जैसा कि हम रशिया में देखते हैं, जब रशिया ने पोलैंड को ऑक्यूपाई कर लिया था और फोर्स करना चाहा था अपनी रशियन लैंग्वेज को स्कूल्स और चर्चेज में, तब पॉलिश लैंग्वेज वॉज स्टॉप्ड एवरीवेयर इन रशिया. सो 1831 में आर्म्ड रिबेलियन हुआ अगेंस्ट रशियन रूल, विच वॉज later crushed by the Russians. But इसके बाद there were many people, for example the clergy in Poland, who began to use Polish language as their weapon of resistance against the Russians. So Polish began to be used for all the church gatherings. This resulted in the imprisonment of large number of priests and bishops. Some of them even went to Siberia as prisoners for not using Russian language to preach. So the use of Polish language was seen as a part of revolutionary struggle against the Russian dominance. Though 1830s is recalled as a year of revolutionary attempts in Europe, it is also recalled for the hardships and hunger that struck Europe. Now let's have a look at what were these hardships and hungers that were faced by the Europeans during the 1830s. 1830s में यूरोप में काफ़ी सारी इकोनॉमिक हार्डशिप्स देखने को मिलती हैं. सबसे बड़ी जो वहाँ पे प्रॉब्लम थी वो थी कि पॉपुलेशन बहुत इंक्रीज़ हो रही थी और अनएम्प्लॉयमेंट बहुत ज़्यादा था. पीपल of rural areas started migrating to cities in search of work. This resulted in the setting up of slums in various cities. Different groups जिस सोसाइटी के वो प्रॉब्लम्स अलग अलग प्रॉब्लम्स फेस कर रहे थे, जैसे कि जो बिजनेसमैन थे, जैसे कि टेक्सटाइल प्रोड्यूसर्स थे, तो उनको so they were facing the tough market competition because of the cheap goods that were imported from England, because England में क्या होता है इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन, तो उसकी वजह से वहाँ से cheap goods आते थे, because of which they were facing tough competition. Okay, and then on the other hand England was more advanced in area of usage of machinery. In those areas where aristocrats were still in powerful position, peasant has to face the burden of the dues. Not only this, the rise of food prices also led to the worsening of the situation. So in the year 1848 food shortage बहुत ज़्यादा थी, unemployment थी, जिससे कि काफ़ी सारी demonstration हुई by peasants in Paris. तो जब लोगों ने revolt किया और तो फिर उनको रोकने के लिए there were barricades set in the cities, और लुई फिलिप को जो वहाँ के कॉन्स्टिट्यूशनल मुनाक थे उनको पेरिस छोड़ना पड़ा. A National Assembly announced republic. It granted voting rights to all male above the age of 21 and granted the right to work. For this, national workshops were set up to provide employment to the public. इसके बाद एक और अपराइजिंग हुई 1845 में सिलेसिया में. द वीवर्स ऑफ सिलेसिया उन्होंने रिवोल्ट किया अगेंस्ट देयर कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स. तो कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स क्या करते थे, दे यूज टू प्रोवाइड द वीवर्स विद रॉ मटेरियल सो दैट दे कुड टर्न देम इनटू फिनिश प्रोडक्ट्स. लेकिन जो पेमेंट्स होती थी कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स की वो बहुत कम देते थे और धीरे धीरे करके बहुत ज़्यादा पेमेंट रिड्यूस होने लगा, बिकॉज ऑफ विच वीवर्स रिवोल्टेड. फिर 4 जून को जो काफ़ी सारे वीवर्स ने एक साथ आके कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स से हाई वेज डिमांड की. फिर उनको कॉन्ट्रैक्टर ने जब मिस ट्रीट किया तो उन्होंने फोर्सफुली उसके घर में जाके उसके घर को डिस्ट्रॉय किया और डैमेज करना स्टार्ट कर दिया. एंड आफ्टर अ गैप ऑफ 24 hours he returned back with an army, and in exchange that followed 11 weavers were shot. So till now we have read about the revolution done by the peasants, weavers and the poets or the artists. But parallel to these groups, some groups also had initiated a revolution in their own way. One such revolution was the educated middle classes of European countries,
which we will be studying in our next class.